Cheers, guys. Epix911, welcome to the Elitist Geek and VR news video for July 2nd, 2016. We had Canada Day yesterday, which, for anybody who doesn't know, is basically our equivalent of kind of Independence Day, which for any American viewers, you guys have, I believe, Monday. And for us, it's a stat holiday, so it was nice. I was able to sleep in, charge myself for a night of gaming for my Friday night guys gaming night, which was awesome. On Friday, I finally received the email I was waiting for that actually gave me the Oculus Rift details. So all my emails to date have been, your shipment is being readied, it's ready, it's being readied. Finally, this fourth email had a tracking number. So I now know it's UPS, which kind of sucks because UPS, at least for us Canadians, seem to just do brokerage fees and stuff a little differently than everybody else. So in hindsight, had I known it was UPS, I probably would have had it go to a cross-border mailbox or something, but whatever, done. I expect it by midweek. Can't wait to get started on that. One of the first things I'm going to do, because it's always been said it's better on Elite Dangerous. Now with the super sampling, I'm curious, how close is the Vive version? And I'll let you guys know, right? As well as being able to look at Vive-specific, Rift-specific games as well. Now, in terms of gaming, the next video I'll deal with, so what I'm going to do, just so you guys know, is I'm going to deal with how things have been requested. So by far, the most requests I've received have been for Revive. So the next gaming-related video is going to be about that. Setting it up, which I did pretty much yesterday. I spent an hour getting everything configured, downloading some Rift-specific games, so I'll share that with you guys. I'm also going to look at Eve Valkyrie and The Climb. So those are two games I kind of got specifically for Revive to look at. It'll be neat. And then again, when the actual Rift arrives, I'll kind of look at some more stuff. So the next videos after Revive, the next most requested was Hover Junkers and the Solus project. Installed both. Solus project, I gotta admit, I loaded it really quick and it looked very awesome, like very atmospheric. It takes place, Earth is destroyed, you're humanity's only hope for the Solus project, which is to find another home world, right? It felt like an alien world and made really good use of VR mechanics. Is it a tech demo style game? How long is it? I don't know. I'll find out and I'll let you guys know. So that's kind of the order of how I'm going to be releasing the game ones. Now, speaking about games, it feels like it's kind of slowed down, which it has, and that's normal. Think about every console that's been released. PlayStation 3, Dreamcast, GameCube, doesn't matter. They all come with a specific amount of launch titles, right? Then you kind of get that slow trickle down of, now it would be indie titles mostly, the odd AAA, and then as you get to that first major holiday season, things ramp up again. Which makes sense, because the AAA devs have had an opportunity to sit with the hardware, experiment, get to know it, and complete that first game. So I wouldn't worry too much. That's just how things are going to play out. That's my hunch anyways. Indie titles, the odd larger publisher game, and then a big ramp up as we get to the holiday season. Now, Epic Games, company that I love, they do Unreal, and once upon a time Unreal was such a nice alternative to Quake. That was in the 90s. They also make the Unreal Engine, right? They recently awarded $80,000 to various kind of indie and publishing companies using their tool set. The reason I mention that is one of them was a VR, like an indie VR company, which I thought was really cool because my opinion on early access aside, and we'll touch that in a standalone video, it's nice if you have a VR dev, they're really close to getting their title ready. Maybe they suck at music and they know nobody, right? This will, 80,000 split however many ways. It might be enough money to pay the royalties on a soundtrack. It might be enough to pay the royalties on art assets to give the game that extra bit of nudge. So kudos to Epic Games. I thought that was a cool move, and I hope we see more of that. And I think we will. I think that's a positive trend. AAA publishers kind of starting to focus on VR, because we already know Bethesda is, right? We know Crytek is with their game The Climb. That's kind of their first foray into VR, which hopefully spins off into cool other VR experiences. Ars Technica had a really cool article, I'm going to link it in the description below, dealing with the HTC Vive. And they make a really good, strong argument for why it should probably be called the Valve Vive. Tongue twister aside, it sounds horrible. Here's their case. And what they do is they look at each of the components and they say, look, the screen isn't HTC, it's Samsung, right? Samsung OLEDs. The controllers are based on Valve technology from the Steam controller, right? Big parts of it are. The tracking, like the Room VR, is all based on the prototype, which was called Valve Room, I believe. Valve Room was the first one. Eventually it became Room VR. Most of the technology and the patents belong to Valve. HTC has taken those and put them together as the manufacturer, and basically they're the distributor. And that's kind of when the genius of that hit me. Think about it this way, guys. When I've had issues, or you guys have had issues, or we've both talked about our issues, who has our frustration been vented at? Mostly HTC, right? And that's the genius. I'm convinced, I have no proof, but I'm convinced Gabe Newell, doing the backstroke in his Scrooge McDuck vault with gold bullion, thought, you know what? Here's how we're going to handle this. We're going to do it this way. We're going to get kind of our, public PR side is going to be this company. And if shit hits the fan and things get really bad, well, we own the patents, the technology, we can go somewhere else. Again, I know nothing about the legal contracts that they've signed. Absolutely none. Just gut. Hunch. Because that would be genius. And it would not surprise me, and I wouldn't put it past Gabe Newell and the rest of Valve, that if it ever got too bad, the PR shitstorm, that they could pull up stakes and go with somebody else. Because if you look at HTC as an entity, this is their really only success. They've lost so much ground to Samsung and Apple on the phone front. This is really the only remaining spot where they're relevant. So, anyways, just another way to look at it. I've given that some thought. I could be totally off my rocker. Again, don't know enough about any of the contracts they've signed, but that just feels like a possibility, like it was almost intended by design, right? Road to VR has a free game right now called Abe VR. Again, my feelings on early access aside, this is free. And I've mentioned kind of like the tech demo-y aspect. That is an issue if you're paying money for it. If you're paying $20, I don't think it's fair to release a game that's 20 minutes long, right? $1 a minute for a tech demo? No. But free is free. What Abe VR does, and I've installed it, but I haven't had the chance to play it and probably won't for a few weeks, so if anybody can, let me know, that would be great. It puts you in the shoes of a serial killer's victim. The serial killer's a robot a la Shodan from System Shock, or Hal from 2001 Space Odyssey. He's the one who's killing you. Again, only 8 to 10 minutes long, but it's free. So let me know if anybody has it, if they've tried it, or you're gonna try it. Let me know once you have. I'd be interested in hearing what you have to say. And then finally, I'm gonna end with Upload VR. They had a really cool thing on Nintendo, an article, and why they're so silent with VR. And it kind of struck me when I thought about it is, in some ways Nintendo is ultra conservative, and then in other ways they take crazy risks, right? They're the only console manufacturer that still has a cartridge-based system. Even when Sega And Sony went CD with the N64 they stayed cartridge, right? Their 3DS still uses cartridge. That's on one hand. On the other end of the spectrum, they take crazy risks with the Wiimote technology, right? With 3DS 3D. But why so silent on VR? Well, for anybody old enough to remember, the Virtual Boy, my gut tells me that's why. It was bad. It was bad. If anybody's tried it, you know what I'm saying. It was monochrome red, which is headache inducing to begin with. The games weren't really VR. There was only 2 that were actually first person, like a Punch-Out style clone. And it was marketed as a portable device, but was horribly not portable. A tripod has 3 legs. Thus it's called a tripod. The Virtual Boy had 2. So you had to put it on a table. You couldn't put it on your lap, or the floor might work. It just didn't work. Cinema Massacre has an hilarious, one of my favorite YouTubers, Cinema Massacre, he does like horrible game, like reviews of games that were terrible, right? It's all scripted and it's completely bashing the game, but it's funny as hell. And one of them he looked at was the Virtual Boy. I'll link that in the description below. You can just get a good chuckle because he tries to set it up in all these portable scenarios and they fail horribly. So there you have it. That's it for this news video, guys. So as I said, next up is Revive, and then the Hover Junkers and some other games. Until then, cheers, guys.